Aquarius, have you ever wondered if the sole reason you're not yet wealthy is because you're still thinking like someone unprepared to receive? It may sound illogical, but this doesn't stem from external factors. It begins at the deepest level, how your mind operates daily. And once that changes, your entire financial reality can shift direction. Someone once found themselves in debt, earning insufficiently to cover expenses, with no assurance of a better future. Yet, by altering the operating system in their mind, they embarked on a process where everything began to shift. This is the phase Aquarius is approaching, a stage where financial destiny no longer hinges on chance, but on the internal frequency being emitted. What holds you back isn't the number in your account, it's the surplus thoughts, unconscious programming, and inherited beliefs from the past. The things that once made you hesitate, made you believe you couldn't. In the new journey that Pluto is activating within Aquarius, these old structures will gradually surface, to be replaced by a more proactive mechanism. Someone started with nothing, no degree, no experience, no backing, and drowning in debt. That feeling when looking at a bill and the stomach knots, not because of the amount, but due to a sense of helplessness, was once all too familiar. And if that ever occurred within Aquarius, it's a phase where the inner frequency hasn't been correctly activated. If you think, that's not for me, someone like me could never achieve that, only others are capable of such success. These statements aren't truths, but they've lived within you for so long that they've become invisible barriers. That's why many wait to have money before changing, when in reality, money only comes after the mind changes first. It's like trying to watch a TV channel without tuning to the correct frequency. No matter how much you desire it, the image won't appear if the frequency doesn't match. Aquarius is the sign of frequency and intuition. Once the internal vibrational state changes, the external flow begins to shift as well. Someone once accepted a cleaning contract for $15.00 a month. A seemingly small start, but it marked a significant turning point in consciousness. From the moment the image of wealth became clear in their mind, reality began to adapt, and that very ability is being rekindled in Aquarius now. Envision correctly, emit the right signal, and manifest the right outcome. They went from being unknown, without capital, burdened by debt, to coordinating contracts in 6 cities, including international ones. No miracles occurred, only a profound internal shift. And if that happened before, there's no reason why Aquarius, with systemic thinking, a global perspective, and acute awareness of the times, can't embark on a similar journey once understanding how the mind truly operates. It was once said at Stanford, over 80% of financial decisions aren't based on logic but on emotion. Insecurity, fear, these aren't innate, they're shaped by the environment, from childhood, from culture, from observations. Aquarius made without realizing they were deeply imprinted. Therefore, the next financial leap doesn't lie in luck, it lies in the question, are you ready to update the entire belief system you're using to make daily decisions? How many times have you turned away from something good, not because it wasn't suitable, but because you always felt not quite ready to embrace it? But why does that feeling keep recurring? Why, when standing before a new door, does Aquarius feel unprepared, even though logic clearly indicates it's time? There's something very significant silently holding you back. And you're about to realize what that is. What's stopping Aquarius isn't the number on a bank statement. It lies deeper, in a small yet powerful belief that whispers, "This isn't meant for me." No one hears that voice, but it appears every time an opportunity draws near, and the most dangerous thing is, it's become so familiar that it's mistaken for part of your personality. People like me are different. This probably only works for others. These words are never spoken aloud, but they quietly make decisions on Aquarius's behalf every single day. Heard often enough, Repeated long enough, they cease to be mere thoughts and evolve into an invisible operating system that makes you shrink your own reality from the inside out. The problem is, many believe their life will change once they have money. But the truth is, money only arrives after the mental operating system has been updated. That's why Aquarius, with a vast vision and a networked way of thinking, can become even more stuck if the internal frequency being broadcast isn't adjusted. It's like trying to tune into a TV channel without matching the right frequency. You can wish, you can focus, you can pray, but if the signal isn't aligned, the image will never appear. Aquarius is the sign of signals and connections, and because you are highly sensitive to subtle energies, even a slight misalignment in your internal state can cause the entire financial system outside to spiral out of sync. There was once someone who took a cleaning job for just $15.00 a month, an amount far too small to seem life-changing. Yet in their mind, they began to picture something else. The wealth wasn't in their bank account yet, but it was becoming clear in their mind. And that, precisely, is where the system reboot begins. A system that doesn't begin with money, but with mental imagery. And in order to shift it, Aquarius must return to something that seems childlike, yet is the most powerful tool a grown human being possesses. When people hear the word imagination, many think of something vague, unrealistic, or even childish. But the truth is, everything in the material world once existed as an image in someone's mind. The phone you're using, the house you live in, the job you have, they all began as imagination. And the same is true for wealth. The issue is most people are using their imagination in the wrong direction, not to visualize success, but to rehearse failure, not to create solutions, but to build scenarios of everything that could go wrong. And Aquarius, with a fast mind and an expansive thought process, is even more prone to falling into that state, unless the direction of your internal broadcast is consciously managed. Has Aquarius ever imagined the end of the month being stressful, bills piling up, opportunities disappearing? And more importantly, how many of those imagined outcomes actually came true? Not because they were predictions, but because the brain doesn't distinguish between reality and vivid mental imagery. A signal repeated often enough, even if it's just imagined, can still trigger behavior and shape reality accordingly. Neuroscience has shown that simply visualizing a physical action can activate the brain's motor regions nearly the same as actually performing it. Which means when Aquarius imagines a new version of themselves, confident, stable, financially strong, the brain begins responding as if that reality is already unfolding. But if the imagination is still dominated by failure, scarcity, or self-doubt, the nervous system reacts as though that were true instead. Most people are using their most powerful tool to destroy themselves. They imagine being fired, they imagine running out of money, they imagine not being good enough. And from that imagined place, the brain sends signals through the whole system. Behavior contracts, thinking narrows, and opportunities fade away, all because they are living more inside a fearful version of themselves than in their potential. And if these mental loops have repeated many times before, it's no surprise that reality keeps echoing the same results. But the good news is, Aquarius can reverse this entire process. It begins with one seemingly simple action, yet it can shift the entire vibrational destiny. The first step to rebooting your frequency is this. Write down exactly what Aquarius truly wants to achieve. Put it on a card. Read it every day. Close your eyes and visualize, not as a vague wish, but as a reality already alive inside your mind. It doesn't matter what your current situation looks like. What matters is what your mind is focused on and how deeply you're feeling it. Aquarius is the sign of limitless vision, but without direction, that expansive ability can turn into restlessness and internal conflict. Clear visualization is the tool that pulls scattered energy back into alignment. There was once someone who, after a long day of cleaning, knelt on the office floor in Toronto, yet still closed their eyes and imagined the spotlight shining on them, heard the applause, saw thousands of faces in the crowd. It felt worlds apart from their reality at the time. But they didn't stop, not even for a day. And that image, vivid, repeated, precise, eventually became their reality. Aquarius is living in a world powered by imagery, signals, and belief, not just logic. The clearer your mental picture, the more your body and nervous system begin to align with it. Your actions shift, your voice shifts, your presence shifts, and the universe in its own unique logic starts to respond through matching currents. The universe responds to the image you hold inside, not the prayer you speak out loud. And when that image is strong enough, real enough, the only missing piece is one thing: a decision. Because without a decision, even the most vivid imagination remains just a longing. You don't need to have 100% clarity to begin. Clarity doesn't come before action. It arrives in the process of moving forward. And if you keep sitting there waiting for everything to be perfect, you may never take a single step. The year 2025 doesn't demand Aquarius to do everything. It only asks you to do the one thing that truly aligns with you, and start from there. What's stopping you isn't lack of knowledge, it's lack of firm commitment. Not the kind that says, let me think about it, or maybe I'll consider it, but a decision as clear as daylight. I will do this, no matter what happens. Aquarius is the sign of intellect and observation, but precisely because you see too many possibilities, you sometimes linger at crossroads for far too long. Decision is the starting point of every miracle. It doesn't depend on certainty. It only needs one internal state: enough. From now on, I will no longer live as the old version of myself, and that too is the essence of transformation that Pluto brings. Not waiting until you're ready, but becoming the ready one through the act itself. There was once someone who stood before a big opportunity, but the inner voice kept whispering, "You're not like them. You won't be accepted." They nearly said no, but then they remembered what had once been etched into their mind. I am a person of influence. I am here to help millions. And the moment they decided to act like that version of themselves, a new stage was opened. That speech didn't succeed because of perfection. It worked because the mind was finally standing in the right place. So Aquarius doesn't need to wait for something external to happen before daring to change internally. The mind always leads the result. And the moment you choose, life chooses you back. Once the decision is made, the only thing left is to live as the person who already chose, not waiting to see results before acting, but acting as if the result is already underway. And that is the next essential shift. Aquarius won't be able to access a new reality while still acting like the old version of themselves. Whenever a goal appears, the first question isn't, "How do I do it?" but rather, "How does someone like that act every day?" Behavior doesn't reflect circumstances. Behavior reflects identity. And identity is something you can choose to reprogram starting today. You don't need to put on an act, but you do need consistency between what you want and what you're projecting. Wanting to be wealthy yet constantly worrying. Wanting to be grounded yet hesitating all the time. Wanting to be seen yet avoiding the spotlight. That's energetic chaos, and the universe doesn't respond to chaos. It only aligns with clear signals. If you want to be someone wealthy, stable, and self-led, then start behaving like that person, not by overspending or pretending to be someone you're not, but through posture, tone of voice, choices, and discipline. Wake up each morning with clarity in your presence. Speak without shrinking. Face challenges with a leader's mindset. That is the energy of someone who has stepped into a new reality. Aquarius is the sign of systems, logic, and precise execution. But that also means you may have a tendency to wait until everything makes perfect sense before taking action. Yet systems only run smoothly after you give the first command. And that command is, I will act as the person I've chosen to become. When your actions match your vision, reality starts tuning in. Someone once said, when I have money, I'll start living like an entrepreneur. But the truth is, only when you act like an entrepreneur does the money begin to show up. And the moment that clicked, everything began to shift. When behavior aligns with vision, the direction of life changes. And if doubt still lingers, know this. The thing to do isn't wait for proof from the outside, but to understand that the universe always begins responding to the frequency you're currently broadcasting. Everything in the universe is energy. This isn't just an abstract idea, it's a physical reality. Every thought, every word, every action emits a unique vibration. And what you emit is exactly what you call back. Not sooner, not later, but precisely when that frequency reaches stability. Aquarius lives through frequency, quick to receive signals, sharp in analysis, but also highly susceptible to interference if you're not consciously managing the signal you're sending out. That's why consistency in personal energy matters far more than any strategy. The world doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your vibration. Just standing in a power pose for 2 minutes changes your physiology. Testosterone rises, cortisol drops, and confidence increases. In other words, the body doesn't just reflect your mental state, it reinforces it. And when your body's energy shifts, reality begins to perceive you differently. There was once someone who couldn't afford to stay in the same hotel as other speakers, but they still arrived early. They observed, they listened, they memorized how the others moved, how they spoke, how they carried themselves. And then they began doing the same, not to imitate, but to train their mind and body to get familiar with a new reality. And it was only a matter of time before the outside world started reflecting that back. Aquarius, if your bank account were full today, if your calendar was packed, if you were living the exact life you've always dreamed of, how would you behave? Would you wait until Monday to begin? Would you keep wasting time on things that don't matter? Or would you walk, speak, and show up as someone who's already ready for something greater? So the first step isn't doing something huge, it's realigning the signal. And when you begin to broadcast the right frequency, even a small action can unlock an entirely different reality. Start with a simple challenge for the next 7 days. Each morning when you wake up, act as the strongest version of yourself. Not the perfect person, but the one who is present, confident, and fully aware of the signal they are emitting. The one who doesn't let emotions dictate their tone, but uses their tone to shape their state. Dress with intention. Speak with presence. Walk as if the ground is supporting someone who knows exactly why they are here. Make decisions as if success is already yours, even if doubts still linger inside. Because change doesn't come from already believing, it comes from daring to act, even while fear is still present. And when you repeat this, the inner and outer worlds begin to merge. What you once only pretended becomes who you truly are. There is no longer a gap between image and reality. There is simply Aquarius, fully embodied, aligned with the highest frequency they were born to transmit. Because in the realm of energy, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you truly are. And if every day you act as someone who has already stepped into prosperity, the entire universe will begin to reorient itself to match you. That's not magic. That's the principle of vibration. You don't need more knowledge, you don't need another degree, you don't need someone else's validation. The reality you desire already exists, it's just broadcasting at a different frequency. And Aquarius can tune into it. The moment you begin living as the person you truly are, Everything Aquarius needs has always been within. Nothing is missing, it just hasn't been used the right way. You're not lost, you've just been momentarily off frequency. But from the moment your inner energy shifts, the external world can no longer stay the same. No miracle required, no savior needed, just one decision: to live in alignment with the frequency your soul was designed to emit. And when you truly do that, you're no longer waiting for life to happen to you. You begin to create it consciously. The reality Aquarius seeks is not far away, it's already there, right beside you. Still broadcasting, still present, just waiting for you to tune in. And the very first thing to do, which is also the final key that matters most, synchronize yourself with yourself. And if you're ready to take on the 7-day challenge, to live as the highest vibrational version of yourself, then start today. Subscribe to this channel so you won't miss the next content that will elevate your awareness and unlock the flow of abundance waiting ahead. And if you're ready to begin this journey, comment yes below so the universe knows you've made your decision. The frequency is ready. Are you? See you in the next video.